Hey there, this is Darren LaCroix with another unforgettable interview. And hey, if you want to be unforgettable on stage, you actually have to be on stage. And the way you do that is with marketing. It's what you and I do off stage that determines, as a speaker, as a business professional, as an entrepreneur, as a trainer, getting on stage is the key to being able to influence, building your business. I know a lot of entrepreneurs use speaking as a marketing tool to fill their business. I know that's how Patricia Fripp started. So if you want to be unforgettable on stage, you need unforgettable marketing. So here we are with my friend, my colleague, and the business growth expert, CSP, Ford Saeks. Hey, Ford, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here, Darren.
So Ford, you're like the go-to guy for a lot of big name speakers. You and your team build their websites, but you're always out there learning what's new in marketing and what's changing and what's up to date and what's working and what isn't working. And you have all the cool newest tools. And some of them, I love that you always say, don't be seduced by technology, but you and I are both seduced by technology. We just have to know when to stop. So Ford, unforgettable marketing. When I just say that phrase, what kind of comes to mind?
Well, it's really being remarkable in the marketplace. It's not about me and it's not about the people who are watching this now, whether they're live or as a replay. It's about how can you be unforgettable? How can you do something in such a positive way that people say, I want to know more about that person. I want that solution. So I have a basic opening that I want to make sure that we're clear on today. And that's this, because I know several of the people that are here. Hi, Vicki and Ruth and Paul and a few of the other people here. Here's what I would say to everybody watching this. Number one, position yourself as an expert, not as a speaker, trainer, author, or consultant. I just want to create some foundations. If you want to be unforgettable, position yourself as that expert. Number two, make sure you're really clear on the problems you solve that people will pay for. There's a lot of people who come to me and hire me and do and work and come to my boot camps and consulting. They want to sell what they want to sell, and that's fine, but they have to position it in the way that the marketplace wants it. So make sure that you're communicating the problems that the marketplace has. If you want to be unforgettable, meet them where they are with what their problems are. So that I just want to start with that as an opening.
Well, that's a great foundation because a lot of people are trying to sell. I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. It doesn't matter what you want to talk about. It matters what, like you said, and I know you and I say this again and again, going back to what's the problem that you solve. But unfortunately, we all need that reminder. And by the way, online, Dave Clark, David Odie, Paul, Ruth, Vicki, Wendy Williams. On the top left there's a button that says chat and a button that says Q&A. So let's use the Q&A button if you've got a question for Ford. Okay, you saw David just sent in a question. But use the Q&A button and let's focus on that. But since Dave Clark already asked the question, do you have to be really confident, Ford, to call yourself an expert versus a speaker?
Well, I think you have to understand that as a speaker, they're hiring you for your expertise. So I really see that as, yes, you need to be confident. You can't drink from an empty well. You have to have value. Now, if you're a humorist, your value might be making people laugh. It doesn't mean that you have to have we're not talking about the amount of knowledge you know. We're talking about your ability to make the impact that you have. So maybe you speak on success. Maybe it's just letting people know, focus on the positive, not the negative. Maybe that's your expertise. In other words, it just means you have to be positioned as a solutions provider. You need not on the vehicle. So speaking, training, consulting, products, membership websites, learning management systems, ebooks, they're all delivery methods. So your content is at the top, or your value. The rest of it's just packaging. So that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, you need to be confident to call yourself an expert, but you might not call yourself an expert, Dave. So I'd have to open him up to see what he does. But it's not about being like an expert. It's about being able to deliver a solution.
Yeah, I know. I love what you said. It reminds me of Randy Pennington when he says, do you want to be a Coke machine or do you want to be Coke? You know, you want to be Coke, which is the expertise, as opposed to the way we deliver the expertise. So, Ford, if I can recap a little bit.
And I would say that you don't want to be the Coke or the Coke machine. I would say you want to be someone that solves the thirst.
Oh, nice.
So that's the problem. People are always focused on the thing, not the result of the thing. The reason you drink the Coke is to quench your thirst. Anyway.
No, perfect. Thank you.
You can own that one now, Darren. I'm going to give that one to you.
No, that's perfect. That's well said. And if I can say, at the beginning of my career, I struggled with this too, and I'm still need to go back and refocus on it. That consider yourself, if you can't say I'm an expert, consider yourself an emerging expert. And here's what I focus on, and I'm constantly trying to learn. So when I wrote my book, Laugh and Get Rich, I wasn't rich and I wasn't funny, but I interviewed people who were. And I took what I learned from them and spoke and gave their stories, and I used other people's credibility. I was the guy who gathered the information and continued to learn and passed it on. So you focus on that area as opposed to being the ultimate expert there.
Perfect.
Sweet. All right.
Hey, guys, I hope you send in more questions. So you're here, you showed up. What are you hoping to get? We've got a lot of content we can cover, but I'd love to hear what you have to say. Now, Darren, since we're now using Zoom for this, have you turned on anybody's webcam and had them be part of these meetings?
I have. And if so, Dave Clark, if you would like to be upgraded, just pop that into the chat, and I'll keep an eye on that too. And we'll bring you in if you got a video camera.
Or Vicky or Ruth or anyone else who's here.
Well, anyone. But if you, anyone. So we'll upgrade you to a panelist if you got your computer ready to go, and we can hear you audio wise. So you're welcome to do that. Just actually raise your hand. So in the top left, it says raise your hand. So raise your hand if you would like to be upgraded. You can have a live conversation with us. So we're teaching Ford. This is groundbreaking. We're teaching Ford how to use a technology. Now he'll blow me away eventually, but by next week. But for now, it's so cool to give back to Ford. All right, Ford, we got a question. The Q&A section came in from Ruth. If you click on Q&A, it pops up there. But Ruth says, I speak on practical neuroscience, but I'm not a doctor or neuroscientist, and I don't have an MD or a PhD. Would practical solution advisor work? Ford?
Yeah, I think you can do that. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you misrepresent your expertise. I'm hoping that you position yourself as someone who can solve the problem. So, for example, Ruth, type into the text box or the question, either one. What problems do you solve? Like, why do people spend money with you? What are they trying to solve? What's the problem they're trying to solve? And again, you can turn her on and put her on the video too if you want, but it's up to you guys.
I don't want to do that without anybody giving me the hands up.
All right.
So Ruth,
here's the reason. So you speak on practical neuroscience, which neuroscience is how the brain works, right? It's how people interpret things and what things mean. You don't have to be a doctor. You just have to be able to solve a problem. So practical solution advisor is fine for the name, but I'm not looking for a title. Like, I'm not saying to call yourself an expert. What I'm saying is to position your website, to position what you do around your expertise.
Yeah, and practical neuroscience, but in what area?
Right.
And so it almost doesn't even matter. We don't have to mention the MD or PhD. You're just someone who helps someone get results. All right, so while we're waiting then for a hand to go up or questions to come in, so I hope that answers your question, Ruth. I hope that's been helpful. So mark that question as done. And Ford, you see that we can always go back. There's an answer.
We're good. But I'm looking at
I'm pretending I'm teaching you technology. Okay. So Ford, going back to some unforgettable marketing, you've worked with a lot of customers and clients. Anything that really worked well, or even your experience when you were working with Randy Gage, what really worked well? Or what was unforgettable marketing that grabbed people's attention and got some response?
Well, it really comes down to two things. It comes down to copy and creative. And
what do you mean by copy? Because some people...
So copy is going to be the words in your message. And it doesn't matter whether it's written, audio, or text, or video. The copy. The creative is the packaging of that copy. So the creative is, how does it read? What does it look like? The marketing that we've done that is copy is more important. Okay, so anything you're selling, a keynote, a breakout, a consulting session, a program, a webinar, doesn't matter what you're selling. The copy is the most important thing. The words, the sales message is the most important piece, because you can send a great message to the wrong market and you won't get sales. And you can send a so-so message to the right market and you'll get sales. Well, even though the copy was great, if you're sending it to the wrong people, it doesn't matter. So what I'm trying to explain is the components to be unforgettable. You've got to have the right message, but you've got to send it to the right person. So if Darren is wanting to increase seats for Lady in the Champs event, and he writes this really compelling copy, and he's got the video and he's got the landing page and it's amazing, but he sends it to accountants at General Motors who have no interest in it, he's not going to get any sales. So the message is important. The people who get the message is important. And then the stylization of that message, meaning that what does it look like? Is it easy to read? Is the font big enough? Is there the right colors? Are there visuals that help guide the user through the copy? I mean, I have copywriters on my staff. They write copy. And then if the designer doesn't lay it out right, they were not going to get any sales, even if it's the greatest copy. So when you ask me what's unforgettable, copywriting and the creative, it's the message, the market, and the method. And in this case, we're talking about, communication. So the takeaways for everybody here is go back and look at your websites. Go back and look at what's online. Go back and look at what you're saying. If you don't have enough business right now, if all of you here and watching this replay, if you don't have enough business right now, I guarantee you it's because you haven't created enough content, or you haven't expanded your influence. You haven't built your digital footprint so people can find you organically. Or two, what you're saying doesn't make any sense to your market. It's not about making sense to me. It's about making sense to your market. Darren, does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm taking notes here so I can recap at the end. Yeah, it's got to match your message to market. I mean, you said it perfectly, but it is cool to look at specifically, here's copy, here's the words, and then here's the delivery or the creative, as you call it, how we get it out there and show it. So what does it look like? Is it interesting enough to get me to read the copy or start reading the copy? All right, in the chat here, we have David Odie. David, thanks for joining us. Thanks for your question. David asks, I have a new niche market that I'm just starting to exploit. I haven't redone my website around it, so this is timely. I teach scientists and engineers to give more effective technical presentations. That's what I'll be working on this year. Okay, is there a question behind that, David, or do you just want us to comment in general? Well, what are your thoughts on that while we're waiting for him?
Well, I would say first things first, and this every answer I give to the people who ask, I'm making it generic for everybody. So if he's identified his market, okay, he's trying to reach 40 to 65-year-olds who have issues with memory, clearly thinking, and ADD. What I would say is you need to do a mind map of your industry.
Hold on. That's Ruth. That's a different question.
I read the wrong question. Sorry.
Okay, so David,
I was trying to look up somebody on the other page at the time that came in. Which question, David? I have a new niche. That one.
Yeah, I have a new niche.
Sorry, guys. I was multitasking. Okay, here we go. Which is an illusion, by the way. All right. So I have a new niche that I'm just starting out to explain. I've redone my website around it, so it's time. And I teach scientists. Okay, that's right. To give more effective presentations. Okay, perfect. All right. Same answer though. So what I would recommend for everybody to do is to do a mind map of your industry.
Can I pause you? Can you go ahead and click on share screen and a little whiteboard will come up? Are you game?
Well, I know how to share screen. You want me to do the whiteboard or you want me to share the screen?
Well, if you share, if you hit share screen, a whiteboard pops up. or if you just have something you want to share, that's fine.
Right, I got you. I know that part I got. I'm actually gonna while you're talking, I'm gonna open up a mind map that I use for clients, and I usually only use this for paid clients, people who pay thousands of dollars. I'm gonna show this, but I'm going to use it for a free giveaway now for the people that are here. So as soon as MindJet opens, but let me give you the context here so we can make this effective, because we only have so much time and everybody. Here's what I want everybody to do. I want you to really get clarity around your market. Get really clear on who are they, what do I know about them, and most importantly, where do they congregate? Where do they hang out? Where do they bunch up? Are they reading a certain thing? Are they attending certain conferences? Are there influencers, excuse me? Are there other influencers that I need to reach that can reach that same market? So so those 45 to 60-year-old scientists, maybe they all go to a conference and you could speak at that conference and you're going to pick up all the clients.
So he kind of clarified follow-up. I'll just read it to you while you get the MindJet up.
I'm trying to get it to load.
So David said, I thought you wanted to know what we're doing. My question is how to reach associations with the right marketing message.
All right.
So for everyone, as Ford calls this up, this is like
I got it up now.
And brilliant. We do this at Get Paid to Speak 2, where we mind map each industry for people. And it's a great tool.
All right. So did you answer him?
Well, I think the mind map will start answering by taking and this is for everyone who wants to, whether it's a new niche or to reevaluate the niche you're actually going for. It helps you just sit down and strategically look at what you're trying to do and how to do it.
Exactly. All right. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm somewhat resistant to do this because I'm going to give away some amazing things. So I hope you're locked in and loaded and ready to go.
David Clark says he loves your recording sign in the background. Be quiet.
Well, I do that. I do that on purpose.
Yeah, for his staff, for everyone watching, for his staff, so they don't walk in and ask him a question in the middle of that. I got to get one of those. All right, so order me a recording sign. Okay,
I'll get you to that. All right, so you should be able to see the MindJet, right, Darren?
We do.
All right, now I'm gonna. Whoa, I spelled my name wrong as I was typing so fast. I'm gonna do this very quickly. You guys can watch this video replay later, and you can pause it. So don't say go back. I'm going to do this quickly.
You got it.
When I start with a client, this is what I go through. So I'm going to give you about $10,000 worth of value right here, right now. We ready to go?
Bring it on.
All right. So this will take me 4 minutes. Alexa, set timer for 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Okay. Here we go, guys. All right.
See what I meant about the tools and the toys.
All right. So first things first, get really clear on your message. Okay. What problems you solve that people will pay to make go away? This is what I do with every client. I really look at their value propositions, and this is what we're going to do at Lady and the Champs in detail. This is what we're going to do for the VIPs and the hot seats. We really want to get clarity around your message to make sure that it resonates with your market. Now, I could spend an hour on that. That's it. Next, your market. Who are they? Where do they congregate? What do you know about them? What research have you done? The people who've already spent money with you, did you go back and find out why they spent money with you? And, you know, because in their words, you may think you know why they spent money with you, but you have to find the benefits and then the hidden benefits. Moving on to methods. Methods have to do with how people get that message. So if you think about the message as being you're going to send a message to a market, well, you're also going to send a method to that market. All right. It's how you're getting that message to that particular market. Now, obviously your website, content marketing, social media, networking, autoresponders, all kinds of products. Now, if you want to really think about how you can drive traffic, there's only 3 ways to drive traffic. Now, I know I'm going fast. Watch the replay, hit pause, take your notes. So, under methods, these are how you're packaging your content. There's only 3 ways to drive traffic. You're either going to create it, you're going to borrow it, or you're going to pay for it. So you can go to hundreds of webinars, you can go to social media world, you can read books, and you can attend every webinar. Everything's going to fall under one of these categories. But just as you know, video marketing could be an all-day event. SEO could be an all-day event. So there's more to it than this. I'm not trying to oversimplify it. I want to keep it simple from your brain. So
we need it simplified, Ford.
Right. All right. So those are the three things. Your message, market, and method, they're really important. Now let's move on. Your product pyramid. Darren and I talk about this. We'll talk about it later. But what do you sell and what are your price points? Next, who are your influencers? Who else influences in your market? So whatever market you're in, you should do some research and find out who else are the key players. Who else has a voice? Who else is a thought leader? Now, I'm going to be very clear on this. I'm not a thought leader. I have thought leader on my website, and I call myself a thought leader when I'm talking to meeting planners. But a thought leader in its raw form is really somebody who moves an industry. It's somebody who, when somebody thinks about something, they're the name that comes up. So, for example, if you think of motivational speaker, most people are going to say Tony Robbins. Not saying that he's not a motivational speaker, but I'm saying people have heard of Tony Robbins, okay? Whether you like him. They've heard of Jim Rohn. They've heard of Les Brown. They've heard of these speakers that are iconic in the industry. Now, that doesn't mean that all of us here can't be a motivational speaker and aren't great, but we're not at the thought leader position. But you should find out research who's their influencers, where are the thought leaders, and who are they, and what can you learn from them? I'm not saying study them. You don't want to, because what happens a lot of times, if you study an influencer too close, you can't help but assimilate what they've done, and all of a sudden you're going to tell one of their stories, and then you're going to lose credibility. So be careful. I'm not saying
it makes you very forgettable.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to be unique. You know, need to know who they are, but don't overdo it. Oh, my 4 minutes are up. Alexa, stop. I almost hit it 4 minutes. Okay, so here's the next thing. Alexa, stop alarm. The next thing is media publications, online and offline. What are the resources that you can use? Like, are there any magazines? Are there trade shows? What other, when I say media, I'm talking about traditional media and digital media, but you need to look at both.
So Ford, let me give a super quick example, just because I have it right here on my desk. In trying to be in front of speakers, I just wrote an article that came out in Toastmaster magazine and one that came out in Podium magazine. So I didn't even know about Podium magazine a couple of years ago, but it's like, okay, what are the places and media that touch your market? Since speakers is mine, that's why I wrote articles. So even though they just came out now, it's work I did 3 months ago. Ford?
No, perfect. So we want the digital mediums, and you should be tracking them. And then also the traditional. Traditional meaning TV, cable, news, that kind of thing. Digital meaning internet and that kind of thing. And most of them now have both. And it's very easy to get listed in the digital. That's a whole other session. To round this out, there's a question that was asked. How do you find speaking events and associations? There's directories of associations. It's called the NAPT. I'll look it up real quick. It's associationexecs.com. Association execs. I'll show it to you real quick, and then we'll move on because I know Darren wants to keep this concise. So this is I'm going to pull it up and move it over to the screen. So this is the website, associationexecs.com. You can come in here and do research. You can find things out. There's also products you can get. There's a book, which is right here, which is called the National Trade and Publications Associations Directory. And that's a book. Now that's the cheapest version. You can pay $300, or you can go online and pay $900. But you can get these by just Googling too, guys. There's enough free stuff free things out there that you can get that you don't necessarily have to do it that way. But what I would recommend is that you do your research and you look for organizations that have local chapters, and you speak at the local chapters first so that you intimately understand their industry and their association. Then after you've got a few of the local chapters on your belt, which are really easy to get, then you can solicit for the national, and you can say, look, I've spoken at your local chapters, and that does carry a lot of clout. So I look at local chapters and national chapters.
Let me jump in for a sec. Definitely, when you do speak at the local chapters, get a testimonial letter and a testimonial video. And that way you can send it to the global organizers. So think global, start local.
Yep, I think that's actually a good thing to put in there. Okay, so that's the associations one. We talked about media. We talked about influencers. Industries, kind of the same thing. Are you in sporting goods, automotive, childcare, retail, wholesale, manufacturer, exporting? I mean, you should know the industries because that is different than everything else. The other thing I want you to think about is your key performance indicators. What are you using to track how many people are on your email list? How many views do you have on YouTube? How many people are you connected with on LinkedIn? How many people are liking your Facebook page and so forth? And there's others. This is just a start. But what's your dashboard? And then, of course, you need to know your business metrics. You need to know, where's your money coming from? I mean, if you want to go to Lady and the Champs and really learn, this is the event you should, so everybody who's here and everybody who's watching this, come to Lady and the Champs, work one-on-one with Darren and I and the other faculty to grow your speaking business, because you're going to get everything in one place. You're going to get the platform skills. You're going to get the marketing. You're going to get all the other things, and Darren will go into more detail. I'm doing unforgettable marketing, which is my area of expertise. That doesn't mean that you're not going to learn marketing from other people, even the people that are at the event, but I'm going to be guiding that track. So your business metrics are how much money are you making? You know, what's your average transaction? What's the long-term value? How much are you selling? What's it cost you? What's it cost you to acquire a customer? You know, those types of things. And these are just examples. So that's my 8 minutes, which are supposed to be 4 minutes. And I'm going to jump back in and stop sharing my screen now. And here we go. Yay.
Well done, Ford. That was awesome and thorough. Let me just check back to Ruth's question here. Want to make sure we get a chance to answer that. So Ruth said, I'm helping. Interaction. Yeah, I'm helping. And by the way, raise your hand if you would like to be upgraded. And then we're going to wrap it up quickly after that. So the other question came in from Ruth. She said, I'm helping 40 to 65-year-olds who have issues with memory, clear thinking, stress, and ADD to be functional, to be able to function better in their business life.
Right. My answer to you would be find the influencers, because they can't remember where to go anyway. So don't go after the don't go after the people that have the problems. Go after the people that are looking for solutions for the people that have the problems. So
in this situation, it might be their kids or
right.
their spouse.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, their kids or their spouse.
Right. So think in terms of what would their kids be searching for online? What would they be typing into the search engines? And then also, where else do those people where do they go for help? Maybe there's doctors, maybe there's other clinics or psychiatrists, or I don't know that industry. But if you start with that mind map that we just talked about, that'll give you some good direction on where to go. But I would look at the influencers, that not the influencers in the way that I said it, that influence the industry. I would look at who else reaches the market you want to reach and get them to be referral sources.
Ford, I'm going to share something real quick too.
Also, Darren, as a side note, we'll talk later. Go ahead.
So real quick. So if you type in memory loss, Chinese drama, memory loss, full movie, didn't know there's a full movie. You could literally use YouTube to help you figure out what videos you could create. So you almost reverse engineer. YouTube shows you exactly what people are searching. So you could put in those terms that you're talking about, and YouTube says, here's what people are searching. So you be the best answer for what people are searching. Ford, back to you.
No, it's good.
Cool.
All right, let's see if there's any other questions that we want to wrap up. And I want to let everybody know too. Darren, what desk do you have your computer on, and do you have your monitor stacked on a bunch of books?
No, I actually have this thing, and I found it at a computer store, so it raises it up just a little bit. so it is raised because of that. But I was thinking about getting one of those desks that you can stand at.
Okay, well, here's the problem. It looks like you're in an earthquake.
Oh, because whenever I touch it, it bounces.
Right. So if you're going to do a bunch of Zooms, I recommend that you get a stable camera.
Fair enough.
And again, this is for everybody here. When you're doing anything, whether it's a speech, a webinar, a little teaser video like we're doing here for 30 minutes or so, whatever you're doing, think in terms of how you can make it better. It's not about criticizing. It's not about what's
Absolutely.
wrong. Just how can you make it better?
And you can't take it personally. Like as soon as you start taking things personally, you'll get defensive and you will not look like an expert. By the way, Ruth asked, not their bosses. Absolutely their bosses. The CEOs who have people working for them in business, that age range too. So Ruth, yes, absolutely. So Ford, real quick, before we wrap this up, what are you going to be covering at Lady and the Champs?
If you want to make money with your expertise, then show up. If you've got enough money right now that you don't need it, don't come. If you're overwhelmed and you're trying to figure out what to do next and you've got too many things going on, then come to Lady and the Champs and meet with me, because I'm going to help you. So when you ask me what I'm going to cover, it's about how you can be unforgettable, improving your branding, your positioning, your digital footprint, your communications, your product sales, and most importantly, how you can monetize your expertise. How do you take what's in your head and in your heart and create value out of it? That's what we're going to be covering.
Sweet. And for everybody who's watching, you can join right here if you just go to ladyandthechamps.com. By the way, Ford's company made this website, and you can see all the things we're going to cover here, creating an unforgettable demo, and all the subjects that we'll be covering. But this was a pretty cool website. You can click on the different speakers who will be there and what they'll be talking about. But join us at Lady and the Champs. Find out more. Ford, thanks for breaking that down. That was super helpful, especially for our visual people. Anyone on, thank you for, didn't get any hand raises, but that's okay. So maybe they weren't ready, or they didn't have their hair just right, or just didn't feel like.
The hand raises are right now, and let's just summarize what we're talking about here. The reason I like Zoom and the reason Darren is now and we're moving to Zoom is this is like being in a room together. So not only are we doing the webcam, we can share the screens, but participants can actually easily share their webcams. And as more for all of you out there, if you don't have your webcam, you don't have your background set up the way you want, you need to do it, because your clients are going to appreciate it. Your meeting planners are going to appreciate it. I do a lot of Zoom calls now with my clients for events for speaking. They like to be able to see, keep in mind, if you have two monitors, tell them you're looking over at this monitor so they know. Do your best to try to look into the camera as opposed to, reading down here if your camera's up there. Now, obviously you're looking at the screen a lot, but make sure you also give eye contact with that camera.
So the camera. Yep, great memory. And our reminder. So Ford said, in recapping what Ford covered in his content, and by the way, if you have a keeper, you can type it in over here for sure. If you've got a keeper, we want to hear it. But the problem solved. It all goes back to the problem solved. Think your copy, the words, which is most important, and then the creative, which is the delivery, whether it's on video or on a printed sheet or on a website, that's your delivery and what it looks like. And remember, the right message to the right market, and then using the right method. So Ford Saeks, thanks for taking the time to be with us and give us some new insights into how to be unforgettable with your marketing. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Ford, thank you. And we'll see you March 3rd and 4th at Lady and the Champs. If you're one of our communities, Stage Time University, or Get Paid, you can come for the bonus day on Thursday, which is free to our members. So spend 3 days with Lady and the Champs. Thanks for being a part of this meeting. Thank you, Ford Saeks. And if you want to know more from Ford, you can go to primesconceptsgroup.com.
Just primeconcepts.com.
Prime Concepts, like I said, primeconcepts.com. If you want to build a world-class website, go check out with him and his team, or one-on-one consulting with Ford, and he'll help you out and tell your webmaster what they can do to fix your site. Ford, thanks a lot. Appreciate your time. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone. Good night.